gets really loud when it's in my mouth. So there is a theme. I'm going to go back almost 11 years ago. July 28th, 2005. It was a gorgeous, hot summer day. I was about 5 months pregnant, and I had just laid down my 15-month-old son for his afternoon nap. And my husband had bought a new camera for me. This was, pretty high tech. I could hook it up to my computer and move the pictures from the camera to the computer. So that's what I was working on when at about 1:30, my son started screaming at like this horrifying nightmare scream, and I went upstairs to get him, and I couldn't console him. It took a long time, and I'd never heard him cry like that, the whole heave, ugly cry kind of cry. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And it wasn't long after that the phone rang, and it was my dad. And he said, "Have you talked to Randy today?" And Randy's my husband. And I said, "I talked to him earlier, but I haven't talked to him lately. Why?" And he said, "Well, I heard a rumor, and I didn't know if it was true. I heard that there was an accident at Alton and Randy was hurt." And I hung up the phone and I called his work. I had called his work earlier because we were going to have a huge family gathering at our house, and I wanted him to pick up a couple of things from the grocery store in Hillsborough, things we couldn't get in Homestead. So his boss said, "Oh, he's up in the tower." He worked at an agronomy center, and he was up on the catwalks cleaning them off from the fertilizers. And he said, "Do you want me to get him?" And I said, "No, that's okay. I'll just call him later. It's not important. I will regret that decision the rest of my life. I would like nothing more than to have said, 'Yes, please get him off the tower.' But I didn't." And I got off the phone with my dad, and I called Randy's work, and his boss answered, and I said, "Is Randy there?" And it was silence. And I said, "He's dead, isn't he?" And his boss said, "Yeah, he's gone." And I'm still holding my son, and I'm panicking. Time has, probably passed maybe half an hour, 45 minutes since my dad's first phone call. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't have a clue. And I picked up Henry and I ran outside, and it happened that his boss, the other boss, and the minister from our church were pulling up to the house along with my sister-in-law, and I collapsed. She caught the baby, and the minister and my husband's boss caught me. It was the worst blow that I've ever had. It was, what the fuck am I going to do now? I don't know how I can go on. I have this child, I'm pregnant, and now I'm alone. I can tell you that grief over time changes. It doesn't get better. There are times that it is raw as the first day it happens. And then there are times when you can think back at funny memories or good times, and actually they make you smile and not cry. And those are the good days. That hasn't been the hardest day of my life. It was the biggest blow, the most difficult day, I guess. The hardest part of my life really is trying to raise two completely different boys, the total opposites in interests, and try and get them to get along and get one to support the other and not go insane, because it's really hard to do. But don't want anyone to feel bad. It's been a long time. It's been 11 years. We're doing just fine. But when someone dies and people come to help you, and they do, that is the most amazing thing. And you have to let them help you because they don't know what else to do. And they're going to say some really stupid, insensitive things to you. The worst thing that I heard was, well, you can be lucky that it was him who died and not you. What? I don't think anyone should have died in this situation. This is horrible. But the second worst thing is it's God's plan. It is not God's plan. God does not plan for war. He doesn't plan for children to grow up without their parents. He doesn't plan for parents to bury their children. He doesn't plan any of that. Good shit happens, bad shit happens. God's plan is for you to turn to him when bad shit happens. That's how I feel about it. That might be a little bit simplistic, but I would lose my faith if I didn't believe that. This was not God's plan. I have a wonderful time with my kids. My kids crack me up. I want to murder them at times. It's true. And, every once in a while, I'm like, what is this bullshit that you're putting me through? But you have to keep your humor. You have to, I'm not going to say move on because you can't move on. You can't. There are days where I still get the bag that the police brought. Randy fell from a 40-foot tower, and his personal belongings are there. And it's his smashed glasses with his hair still in it and dried blood. And I hold it because it's all that I have left of him. And the hardest part, it's a loss for me, but it's a greater loss for his children. My one son is Randy all over again. And I'm sorry, Henry, but some of the things you do, I think are, I don't get it. Your dad would love it. Comic-Con, I went. This is awesome, and his dad would have totally dressed up and totally been into it. I'm like, oh, is it time to eat yet? I didn't wear a costume, and I'm not sure what's happening, but I wouldn't trade any of it. I miss a lot of it. Cherish everything. The thing I miss the most, I guess, is fun. When you're a single parent, everything is on you. All financial decisions, all medical decisions, and my kids do have a few medical problems. The loneliest, most vulnerable I ever felt was when my youngest, Charlie, was 3 weeks old. He had a heart condition that we weren't aware of until a few weeks after he was born, and I was alone in the hospital with him, where his heart would beat so fast that they would have to try and stop it to get it to convert back to normal rhythm. And I'm there by myself. And the only person there at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm sobbing uncontrollably was the nurse rubbing my back. But I wasn't alone. You might feel alone sometimes because people have their own things going on, but there's never a moment where I can't call a friend or a family member, and they'll bring me Nefla soup at 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm sobbing uncontrollably for whatever reason. Maybe it's grief, maybe it's frustration, maybe I'm overwhelmed. There's all of those things that happen because being a parent is stressful, but being a single parent is worse. And I miss the games, I miss the companionship. Randy was my best friend. We never had a fight in all the years we were together. He pissed me off, but we never fought about it. He would say, note to self, don't ever do this again. So every day when he would leave for work, or if I left the house before him, we would play the I love you more game. I love you more. And I always ended it with, yeah, you probably do. So if I could go back and change anything about my relationship with my best friend, I would change that game to the end being, nah, it's not possible.